Hi, and welcome to A Couple of Average Joe Show. I am Mike.
I am Joe.
And this is Compelled.
Have you heard about the CDC being instructed to basically tell all the doctors that are, what's the word I'm looking for, diagnosing patients that if they, when they die, that they are going to put on the death certificate, died from the coronavirus?
Even if they haven't been tested for it.
Yeah. The new ICD code for coronavirus disease is U0 or U07.1. The CDC email says that the WHO has added a second code, 7.2, for instances where a laboratory confirmation is inconclusive or not available because lab test results are not typically reported on death certificates in the U.S. National Center for Health Statistics is not planning to implement 7.2 for mortality statistics. The problem with the new codes is that it may result in an inflated number of coronavirus deaths. Now, I'm seeing a lot of people post people die and people died of coronavirus. What if they're not dying of coronavirus? Now, there's a guy that I know on Facebook. I know him beyond Facebook, and he's been posting this stuff, that the doctors have been instructed to put on the death certificate, cause of death, coronavirus, right? And it's always, a friend of a friend of a friend of a friend. So I started looking it up. He posted a picture and it says, somebody I know died. And then the person told me that the doctors are doing this and putting the coronavirus on the death certificate, to get more money from the state, from the government for funding, right?
Yeah.
Well, I'm like, that's bullshit. Former New York Times reporter Alex Berenson noted this on Twitter. And I'm being honest about this. I was like, his name is Dave. And Dave is one of those guys that will post stuff. He's very right wing, and he's, in my opinion, he's kind of loony, But that doesn't mean he's wrong. It's just that, I started looking this stuff up and I couldn't find anything on it. I mean, I'm doing all sorts of searches for, the CDC confirmation guidelines and this and that and the other thing. I even wrote, one of the sentences from this picture that he showed just to see if I could find that particular, instance. And I couldn't find it anywhere. And so, it could be deleted, whatever. It doesn't matter. I'm going to wait a couple of days before anything else because sometimes people are a little bit ahead of the curve and these reports don't come in as quick as they need to come in, or it's buried somewhere. So I waited a couple of days, yesterday and today, to see whether he's right, mostly to see whether he's right. I wasn't I was looking up to see whether it's bullshit or not, but to prove him wrong, I'm being like this fucking hero, this humanitarian, this fucking savior of the earth type person. And really, this fucking ego, right? My ego is just attacking myself. And I'm just like, I'm going to prove this guy wrong. He's so full of shit. And then wait a second, what if he's right? That one instance of clarity that just comes in when you're so driven to prove something wrong. And you're like, okay, give it a couple of days. Don't be a dick. Let's see what happens.
Yeah.
Okay. Under the new guidelines, Alex Berenson noted on his Twitter, under the new guidance, any death with COVID-19 caused or is assumed to have caused or contributed to will be counted as a coronavirus death. He explains that other possibly relevant factors like COPD are considered secondary. Confirmed lab tests are not required. Berenson is concerned that deaths in which the underlying cause may be heart disease, cancer, influenza, or something else will be included in the total number of coronavirus deaths. And this is attributed to the whole thing that Dave was talking about.
I think he had the COVID. I think he did.
He may. It's a tough call to make. A person may have COPD, but if they would have lived even a little longer had they not been infected with coronavirus, I think it's fair to call it a coronavirus death. In some cases, it's not an easy decision. An Omaha, Nebraska newspaper reports that a man in his 80s recently died. Along with several underlying conditions for which he was receiving hospice care, he contracted coronavirus. Authorities determined that the COVID-19 infection was his leading or acute cause of death. In cases where a laboratory confirmation is inconclusive or not available, it becomes a more difficult call. These are the guidelines. The underlying cause depends upon what and where conditions are reported on the death certificate. However, the rules for coding and selection of the underlying cause of death are expected to result in COVID-19 being the underlying cause more often than not. COVID-19 should be reported on the death certificate for all decadents.
Descendant. It shouldn't be descendants?
No, decadents.
Oh, wait, okay.
Not decadence, decadence. Not DANCE. It's DENTS. Not
dissidents.
It could be dissidents, but where the disease caused or is assumed to have caused or contributed to death. Certifiers should include as much detail as possible based on their knowledge of the case, medical records, laboratory testing, etc. If the decedent or decadent had other chronic conditions such as COPD or asthma that may have also contributed, these conditions can be reported in part 2. Decedent.
Okay. I thought that this was more like everyone that's dying right now, they're just like saying, fuck it, it's COVID.
That's what they're saying. That is exactly what they're saying.
Okay. Yeah. So that means like even if someone came in who was having heart palpitations and they died, they could just, even though they don't have anything else, they could just say, oh, yeah, it's COVID.
Yeah. As you sit home watching COVID death counts spiral, please know the official CDC government guidance for coding COVID-related deaths is as follows. Any death where the disease caused or is assumed to have caused or contributed to death, confirmed lab tests are not required.
That's irresponsible, man. That's look, if they want to label coronavirus as like the straw that broke the camel's back with these patients that died, then they need to have a test to make sure that the person actually had it.
Yeah, you would think. Excuse me.
Yeah, because I mean, there's so many things from this virus that are similar to the flu and other conditions. So you can't just assume, he's lung or that means he's got the COVID.
Yep. Did you know that there's a shelter in place in, I think it's Placer County, where they are telling people that do not gather at all. Let anything even less than 10 people, do not, just stay home. Mm-hmm. And I don't know if that's Sacramento County as well, but Placer County. Did you know that?
No.
Yeah, that was advised a couple of days ago. It was posted, I don't know where, it was put on a piece of paper and put up on like one of the fucking, one of the government buildings. So, real effective there, right?
Yeah.
But, okay, so do you know what the Bethany Slavic Missionary Church is?
I'm about to.
Do you know where?
Isn't that new? That's in Sacramento, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
So I'm hearing something about it, like a Russian-ish related church in Sacramento is not following precautions or quarantine.
70 people have been infected with the coronavirus linked to a single Northern California church here in Sacramento.
It's because they got the Jesus blood. They're covered in Jesus blood. They ain't going to get it.
Yeah, that's funny that you say that. Did you watch the Philip DeFranco thing?
Yeah.
With the lady who's like, I'm covered in Jesus blood. Like, are you that fucking stupid that... Sky Cake is going to save you,
Yeah, it's like someone in the comment section wrote, well, then why is she wearing a seatbelt? Yeah,
I saw that. That was hilarious. And it's just, look, the First Amendment is the First Amendment, the freedom of religion and this and that and the other thing. I get it. However, stupid is as stupid does, right?
Fuckwits, man.
It's ridiculous. A large and influential Russian language church near Sacramento is denying it as the center of a novel coronavirus outbreak. Is denying it is not denying it.
Ted the devil.
Essentially, they're denying it too. In an interview,
Satan's deception.
In an interview with a Sacramento television station on Thursday, Sacramento County Department of Health Services Director Peter Bylinson confirmed at least 70 people at the Bethany Slavic Missionary Church were infected with COVID-19. He said he named the church not to cast aspersions on anybody, but to really hammer home the importance of not congregating, not only in church, but also in prayer gatherings in people's homes. It is one of the largest outbreak clusters of the virus in the United States. The pastor announced at least 3 members of the church were infected. This was last Sunday, so what was that? The end of March, about the end of March, right? No thanks.
Yeah, like we need updates on this shit.
I don't need your coronavirus newsletter. The church released a statement Friday, this is a couple days ago, and today's the 7th, saying media reports about the COVID-19 outbreak were inaccurate and falsely placed emphasis on this church. The church also said it hadn't been informed by any of its parishioners. The church said it hadn't informed any of its parishioners had died, as reported by a local newspaper. Bielenson told the Sacramento Bee Thursday that church leaders had basically told us to leave them alone, adding, "This is extremely irresponsible and dangerous for the community." Health Department spokesman Jana Hayes told CNN officials they believe the virus is being spread during Bible study and fellowship meetings in small groups at congregants' homes. Haynes said the department is very concerned about the upcoming holidays of Palm Sunday and Easter, when church members and their family traditionally get together to celebrate, or in terms of what most people do is they feel guilty, so they go there. This is their first time this year going to absolve themselves of sin until Christmas. In a statement, the church said it had complied with all federal, state, and local guidelines and regulations by closing its doors on March 18th and directing members to remain at home. The church did not rebuff or decline communications from health officials as reported. The statement said church leaders hadn't at any time responded, "Leave us alone," and disputed church members had continued to gather in people's homes. In response to the church's statement, the health department released a statement Friday that said health officials had spoken to members of the church and community during their contact tracing investigation, and those interviews revealed links between the cases linked to the church. While we know that the church as a whole has ceased to meet, in fact, they have been shut down, and the leadership is hosting online services, we have been told by multiple sources that there are groups that continue to meet in homes despite the public health order to not gather with anyone outside of household members. These gatherings have been directly linked to clusters of cases in the community. The statement said the department's only goal is to make sure people comply with the public health order not to gather to prevent the spread of the virus. The statement also noted that in no way does Sacramento County condone ridicule, hatred, or violence toward this church. It's a touchy subject. A lot of people believe they will be divinely protected, that God is stronger than the virus, said Vlad Kyrgyz, the editor of the Evening Sacramento, a Russian.
God was stronger than the Holocaust.
Kyrgyz also said that despite dire warnings about the dangers of gatherings, there is a strong cultural tradition of not trusting the government. He told CNN that when he excerpted part of the local paper story about the COVID-19 cluster, he received a tsunami of negative comments blaming our news blog for participating in the attack on the church and even our own community. We had to turn off comments to avoid conflict and further emotional escalation within our community that already seems to be on edge. So,
put a wall around their congregation.
The church has been shuttered. He's not the only one. This guy, Tony Spell from the Life Tabernacle Church. So there's a whole lot of stuff that's going on. And I'm not picking on churches just because this is for everybody. But these guys, are hiding behind the First Amendment and putting people in danger.
Yeah.
It has nothing to do with church services or anything else like that. If you want church services, do it online,
Yeah.
And
also while they're avoiding paying taxes as well.
So this guy, Tony Spell, he defied a state order to not hold large gatherings. He says 1,000 people came to his church Sunday. 1,000 people. Oh, look, they're healing somebody. Tony Spell said his Life Tabernacle Church in Baton Rouge drew about 1,000 people to his services, in part by busing people in from across 5 parishes. On Tuesday evening, the pastor plans to hold services again, despite the governor's stay-at-home orders, a petition seeking his arrest, and a flood of criticism from fellow Christians. "If they close every door in the city, then I will close my door," Spell told CNN. "But you can't say the retailers are essential, but the church is not. That is a persecution of faith." It is not a persecution of faith, you fucking retard. It's protecting your own. There are some essential services out there. Gas is an essential service. As much as I disagree with keeping the fucking convenience store open and just letting them get gas, because lottery is not an essential service.
No.
Come in and buy fucking lotto. But whatever, it is what it is, and I
gotta keep the balls rolling, man.
And they're in it for the almighty dollar, man. That's what it is. Same with GameStop. Same with everybody else. They don't give a shit about the people that are
car
working
dealerships.
there. Yeah, they don't give a shit about the people that are working there. They don't care about anything other than their fucking bottom line.
Yeah, and big ass stores like Walmart, they're not giving extra pay for people that are working essentials.
Which is, it's ridiculous. And there's this other guy in Florida. What?
It should be hazard pay for essentials that are working in places like Walmart and stuff like that. They're risking their lives because they're interacting with the public and with other employees and stuff like that. And it's a bigger risk than us just staying home all day.
Yeah. So this guy, Rodney Howard Brown, is He was arrested. Again, they're hiding behind the First Amendment saying, separation of church and state, this and that and the other thing. I deserve, because God will heal. And this is the guy that, as you said before, the blood of Jesus protects him, right? So Rodney Howard Brown said he wouldn't close the doors of his Tampa, Florida megachurch until the end times begin. On Monday, this was last week, he was arrested, he was arrested even though he continued to host large church services despite public orders urging residents to stay home to help contain the spread of the novel coronavirus. Howard Brown has been charged with 2 counts, unlawful assembly and a violation of health emergency rules. Both are second-degree misdemeanors. Hillsborough County issued an order directing residents to remain at home effective March 27th, except for essential services, grocery store, doctor's office, pharmacy. The county's list of essential services do not include attending church. So it's kind of an out right there. And the government seems to have this thing where, no, I don't want a summary of the news, where they just can't get their shit together. There's tons of mixed messages. They won't bring the hammer down on gatherings. They won't bring the hammer down on religious gatherings because they're too afraid. Fuck off. God, like these automated videos, they're just crazy. And it's not just happening here. I think it's happening in Ohio. It's happening it's definitely happening in Florida. It's happening here in Sacramento. But all over the country, I think 41 states have put the quarantine into effect. What about the other 9 states? The other 9 states don't believe that this shit is happening, that people aren't getting affected by this coronavirus, whether indirectly or directly, that, people have stopped traveling. People aren't getting on planes. I've seen one plane fly over in the last month, one plane. And I don't even know what type of plane that was, if it was a military jet or what, but it was high up in the air and it didn't look like a regular passenger liner jet. The government needs to get its shit together. Now, everybody's bitching and moaning about Trump not doing whatever he won't enact that Protection Act, the Wartime Protection Act thing, and that the federal government is not doing its job, and Trump is trying to dismantle government, and he wants the states to take care of their own thing. So the way that it basically reads is that Trump is an asshole and he's fucking everything up. It's his fault, blah, 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 blah. Where he's telling the states to essentially say, hey, we're the federal government. We'll back you up, but it's your job to control this stuff because we can't be everywhere at once. So therefore it's incumbent upon the local and state side to take care of this quarantine and make sure that things are going to go as planned. And if you can't do that, then I guess we're going to have to step in, but we don't want to step in and we don't want to take charge. That's not our job. That's your job. And California seems to be doing a pretty good job of it from what I've seen, what I've heard. They flattened the line, but they've extended it or whatever. We flattened the curve.
I think the fact that this state has more health freaks than any other state is probably helping in a way.
Maybe. You may be right. But what it comes down to is this is a governmental problem now where they're too afraid to step on anybody's toes and they're too afraid to make any decisions because it might lose them, voters, and might do this and might do that, might. Start making decisions. If you can't make decisions,
secede from the union.
Yeah. If you can't make fucking decisions, then you shouldn't be in office. Get the fuck out and let someone that can do it do the job. Because, for some reason, California has been able to do this, and we're a state that's completely fucked up.
Oh, yeah.
But New York can't get their shit together. They're outrageous with the amount of coronavirus claims, and who knows what's true and what isn't true in terms of infection and death and this and that. Because if everybody's being, labeled as coronavirus when they die, then we don't know the truth of the matter. They're just, it just is what it is, right? So,
I remember when Washington seemed like it was insane with all this, and now Washington ain't shit compared to New Jersey and New York and Louisiana.
Yeah. And what's going on is people aren't taking it seriously. People are not taking this seriously. They just think, whatever, I'll never get it,
Yeah, it'd be nice if like karma would smack stupid people like that in their asses. But the problem is that it's not just going to smack them. It's going to smack people that they're interacting with.
Okay. Then those people that they're interacting with are just as dumb.
I agree to a point, but what if they're going around people that are trying to distance themselves and they're still spreading it around by touching shit, and being around shit when these people have to go to the store real quick, just to get some groceries that they need.
Again, those the people that are not following the rules should be put away. Just fucking put under house arrest. Who cares? Not in jail, but just restrained. Put them in fucking chains and chain them up to their front lawn. The tree in their front lawn.
Yeah, I've got no sympathy right now for anyone who thinks that Jesus' blood is protecting them from the itis.
Not just Jesus' blood. I mean, I have no sympathy for anybody that has that isn't taking this seriously.
Yeah,
it's that simple.
Yeah, they're the one that's hurting everybody all around, because then that means businesses are going to be closed for longer than necessary because it's not, being quarantined as properly as it should be.
Yeah, and that's the fucking problem. That's the massive problem right there, is people are not doing, I see it every day. Unfortunately, I'm one of those guys that's considered essential. I don't think I am, but there's nothing I can do about it right now. It's a job, and I have no control over that. I mean, I can quit, but then I can't pay my bills, so.
Oh, just essentially you're an asshole.
When you have people that are in these classifications as essential, the people that work at Walmarts and stuff like that, it's incumbent upon the company to protect those people as much as possible. And I don't see them protecting any of the workers. I don't see them putting up shields around the workers, these, plexiglass shields to protect them. I don't see them doing anything in terms of helping other than, here's some sanitized spray. Make sure you wash down your shit. Well, what about the people that have already touched all this shit? What about the people that fart, How do we know that farts aren't fucking, aerosolized, demon seed, the coronavirus, right? Fart out the coronavirus. But again, I mean, it manifests itself in so many different ways that you don't know. Touch, taste, whatever. And you have people going through and touching all the fruits and vegetables. You have people going through, you're only allowed, one person allowed into a store, and you got to wait in line, to be able to get into the store. And
I've been putting off going to I had my EBT shit ready on the 1st, and what is today, the 7th? And I still haven't gone to the grocery store yet because I'm putting it off as long as possible.
Yeah, and that's good, but not. You need food and stuff like that. So,
and I got plenty of food now. I'm going to go shopping in the next day or two. I'm going to go early in the morning because in the area I live in, it's not bad in the morning. So.
Right, but they're still limiting access. They're only allowing so many people into the store at a time.
Yeah, and then I'm going to grab specific things that I already planned out, and I don't plan on being in there for more than a half hour, if that.
Right.
And then what else? Another thing I'm doing. I need a haircut soon, and I'm just going to shave my head. That'll save me a trip to the barber. What? I've shaved my head before. I shave my head every fucking year.
You look gross when you shave your head.
I know I look gross. Who gives a shit? It's not like I'm getting laid.
You look like a testicle.
You look like you look like the fighter from Popeye. I can't remember his name.
The fighter from Popeye?
Yeah, when Popeye fights he looks like King Kong Bundy, but he's not King Kong.
Oh, okay.
He's not King Kong Bundy.
Look, I know. Look, I know. I'm not the sexiest specimen with a bald head.
Listen, you look sexy with hair, just not without it.
Well, all right. I'm sponsored by my daughter. That's great.
Wonderful.
Sexy dad with hair. So, I'm going to. I'm just going to buzz my head, and it'll grow back. My hair grows fast.
You don't need to even shave it. Just buzz it. Just done.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I'll buzz my head. I got clippers at home, and
I'll give you $1 if you do what's called a Slayer crest. You have a mohawk, and it just grows huge, like massive, just right down the middle of your head, and
like a Roman soldier.
Yeah, essentially, it's about that wide, so it's like 2 or 3 inches wide, right?
Yeah,
and it just grows straight up. So you just put product in there, and
I got gorilla gel.
Yeah,
gorilla snot.
Yeah. And then you dye it. Like you dye it whatever color you want to dye it, purple or yellow or red or whatever. And then you can do that. That would be cool.
Well, I'll make it
like
red and green since all the pictures
high.
of coronavirus are always red and green.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's wonderful.
I could just have like the little just spots of hair poking out, and each one is red and green.
Yeah, that's
looking like coronavirus cell.
That's hilarious.
I'm not going to do that though. My problem with doing one of those mohawks like that is that I'm too anal. I have to get every hair right, and it just would never look straight to me at all. I don't even know if I can let myself get to the point where I'm like, okay, fuck it, just let it roll, dude.
Just let it roll. Who cares?
One of my little OCDs.
Yeah.
That's why I can never be a stylist. It would take me 5 hours to do one person's head.
That's why you need to stop being a perfectionist and just let it roll. I mean, nobody's going to notice. That's the issue. That's the thing. Like I did the same thing with my beard. It's just like, oh, I got to trim it and this and that, and I gotta. And then I was just like, nobody sees it, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah,
like
yeah,
I shaved and nobody noticed, so nobody. Like if I shaved off the whole thing, would anybody notice? They're probably not. Not for like 3 days.
I would notice.
No, you wouldn't.
I would notice because also I could see like when rows of hair aren't perfectly trimmed evenly, or you have more hair on one side of the face than the other. I notice that shit. I just don't say anything because it's just stupid to fucking say anything. We're all humans. We all have imperfections.
Yeah, it's or my lack of chin.
you got a Bob's Burgers chin.
Basically, I do. I have a beard because I have no chin.
Where's your chin, Bobby? Is that on the special?
It fell off. Where's my chin? I shaved it. The whole thing go with it? Yep.
Use a Spartacus looking motherfucker, ain't you?
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, when it comes down to these two things with, the number of deaths being attributed to the coronavirus and then, of course, the life churches and whatnot and gatherings. And if you really believe that you're not going to get infected by this shit, then I'm sorry, you are.
Even if you don't, even if you're immune in your own way and you don't show any symptoms or anything, you can still carry it. You can give it to other people.
Yeah, you may have already had it and you're carrying it.
Yeah, exactly.
And
I've taken plenty of precautions. We stay home all day. We go to the park, but we stay away from people, and we usually go when it's slimming down. We go in the late evening when there's way less people there.
You can get reinfected by it.
Oh yeah, and I know there's always a risk, but we got to get some sunlight. We got to get out of the house. It's
okay. That's the exact opposite of the quarantine. That's the exact opposite of the lockdown. And stay in place.
They said you can go for walks. They said you can go for walks to get exercise. We're going for walks to get exercise.
Right, but that turns into, well, if I go for a walk for exercise, I can go do this. Then that turns into this.
I don't do. No, I look. Maybe for some people, sure, but no, I stick to my guns on this shit. There's no. Oh, well, hey, let's just stop here and then go there, and no, we go get the exercise and we come right back home. Yeah, where the fuck else we gotta go? We gonna go to the club?
Stop at the store. Stop at this. Stop at that.
No, there's. I mean, most of the stores. That's another reason why it's good to go at night, because most of the stores are already closed over here by then anyway. So there'd be less reason to make a pit stop on the way home. You know what I mean? Also, when I do go to the store, I don't take my kids with me right now. I just go by myself.
That's good.
Yeah. So I'm doing my part. Would you like to know more?
No, I'll buy that for $1.
Both of those are from quotes from Paul Verhoeven movies.
Maybe we should do a Starship Troopers type of news thing.
Yes.
So okay, we're done. I'm done. We're done.
We're done?
Yeah.